definition of insanity is, as you know, is repeating the same behavior, expecting different results. A week or two after the 2006 election, what do the Republicans do? Re-elect the same leadership. And they think we're going to get different results with the same leadership. So that's why we need new leadership. The old leadership is immoral, corrupt, and it's not going to get us to the political promised land. So where do we go from here? In my opinion, we also should not repeat the same behavior and expect different results. Hear me very carefully. I'm talking about a third force, not a third party, a third force. The left has had enormous success with a third force. Look at their environmental groups out there, 350 or more of them. Their consumer groups, hundreds of them. Civil rights organizations, the unions. They all have their own source of funding, their own membership, their own agenda. They act independent of the Democratic Party, but they try to pull everybody with a fair amount of success their ways. In my lifetime, the most successful third force public policy issue in America has been the state of Israel. It is off the table. Nobody debates that anymore. The Republicans support it. Democrats support the state of Israel. Independents, moderates, conservatives, and liberals. But they did not tie that issue to the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. They pulled everybody our way. And that's why we need to no longer think of ourselves as an appendage, an arm of the Republican Party. We need to go out there and focus on our own issue. And if your issue is taxes, start new organizations, support existing organizations, and advance your agenda, get other people involved. If it's a cause of pro-life, do the same. Identify your issue and get involved. And that's how we can, pull everybody our way and act independent of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. And when we have significant resources and strength, they will come our way. Right now, they don't see us as being a viable, strong force. And until we get back to basics and relaunch the conservative movement and restart the movement and build up our organizations, we're not going to be an effective force in politics. In order to relaunch the conservative movement, I think that we should no longer think of ourselves first as Republicans or Democrats. Think of ourselves as a Reagan conservative and operate independent of the political parties and pull everybody our way. I think we should withhold support from all of the Republican national committees. They are not doing our bidding. Why should we be doing that? They're not going to starve. We should also not be supporting establishment Republican candidates. We should be supporting our own principled conservatives. And we should be challenging the Republicans. Almost every one of these establishment Republicans should be challenged in conventions and primaries in 2008 election. We, as conservatives, should be withholding our support from all of the 2008 presidential wannabes, particularly the major ones, because not one of the major candidates deserves our support. Every one of these, whether it's McCain or Romney or Giuliani, and many of the others, quite frankly, they failed the Goldwater and the Reagan test. The Goldwater test is when he and he alone stood up and said the emperor had no clothes on. And the Republican leaders in Congress were wrong on this issue, wrong on that issue. He stood up on the floor of the Senate and said the President of the United States, the leader of his party, was running a dime store New Deal. Where is the Republican who wants to be our leader now, who has stood up as this Republican Congress and White House has moved left and grown government at a level that Democrats had never dreamed was achievable? And now they want to lead conservatives. Where were they when we desperately needed them in the last 10 years? The Reagan test that I like to give to all these candidates is, we saw Reagan. I went to many a function in the 1960s and 70s when Reagan was there, not at the head table, but out among us. We turned around, oh, hi, Governor. He was there with us. He walked with us. But I never, ever saw Governor Reagan without seeing, well, there's my friend, Len Nopson, and there's Ed Meese, my buddy, and there's Dick Allen, my friend, and there's Judge Clark and Marty Anderson. We were all around Reagan, you know. So if we don't know who's around McCain, Giuliani, Romney now, why would we think that conservatives would be around them if they move into Pennsylvania Avenue, 1600? Not going to happen. And I guarantee you something else is not going to happen. You'll never have conservative programs and conservative policies without conservative personnel. And if we're not around these candidates now, don't be under any illusion that there'll be conservatives in that White House if they were to be fortunate enough to go in there. I mentioned Bill Middendorf's book, Glorious Disaster. I'm on a plane this weekend, and I opened the book up, turned to the first page. By the time I finished the first page, it was like the blight spirit took the scales off my eyes, and I could see clearly. I just had missed this for so long, I can't believe it. But I am so excited about this idea. And this is the idea. I'm sure all of us, certainly me, and most of my friends, we've been looking for years and years now for Ronald Reagan. Well, Ronald Reagan ain't here right now. Hopefully he or she will be there in a few years, but they're not there now, and I don't care how long we look for them, we're not going to find them. What we should be looking for is Barry Goldwater, the second Barry Goldwater, because it was Goldwater's campaign that launched the conservative movement that led directly to Ronald Reagan's election. So if we as conservatives will go out there and put our energy behind some man or woman, a politician perhaps, but maybe not, maybe a business person, or somebody else out there who can carry our cause and carry our flag on social issues, on economic issues, on foreign policy issues, we can build this movement up, and hopefully then the next Ronald Reagan will appear. But I think we've got the cart before the horse. We need to get behind a principled conservative candidate in 2008, and from that, the energy will come forward, and we can hopefully elect a Ronald Reagan in 2008 or 2010 to governor's office, to the Senate, and maybe many of them. And hopefully we'll have a very competitive race in the future among conservatives to see who's going to carry our flag for us. And by the way, nobody likes to forfeit elections, and I'm not saying that we should forfeit this election. I don't want to see any Democrat that's on the scene now in the White House, but I'm a realist, and I know that conservatives are not going to govern America in the next 15, 18, 20 months. It's just not going to happen. But it can happen in 6 to 10 years. We can govern America. But it's going to take hard work. We've done it before, conservatives, and we can do it again. But we have to go out there and do the grunt work and build the conservative movement up from the grassroots. The conservatives have a lot of strengths. But one of the strengths that we've had, in the early days, it was a necessity. We didn't have an option. We approached politics as a marathon, not as a sprint, because we just didn't have the resources to think that we could, govern in the next 2-4 years. Okay? But I still recommend to conservatives that we think now, the position that we're in, as a marathon, not as a sprint. And we can govern America, not just in the White House, but in the Congress, in the state houses, in the local levels. We can do it in the next 6 to 10 years. But we have to do that which was talked about in the wonderful movie Field of Dreams. Kevin Costner kept hearing the voices. Build it and he will come. Well, he was Joe Jackson, his hero, but I like to say build it and they will come. If we go out there and build the conservative movement up as we have in the past, the next Ronald Reagans will appear. And to use another movie example, the Blues Brothers. The idea in the movie was, we're going to get the band back together again. And we're on a mission from God, okay? Well, conservatives, we're going to relaunch the conservative movement, and hopefully we're on a mission from God. Thank you.